Well, hello and welcome to the third day of my filming. This is a little documentary I'm creating um, to document my journey from Seattle to New York. I'm moving and I have 11 days left, and so yay! So this morning, I woke up and the first thing I felt was fear. It was so weird. It came out of nowhere, and so my usual response would be to just annihilate it and say, hey, stop worrying and get back to whatever. But this time I didn't do that. This time I said, I'm going to allow myself to just experience this, to embrace it, breathe it all in, and to feel the full experience of just this absolute fear, because I wanted to understand where it was coming from. And so it took about like a minute, and I just kind of laid there and I was just like, oh, and I just felt the whole thing. And so then I decided to write. I took out my journal and I just started writing whatever came to mind. And through writing, after about a half a page, I kind of figured out what I was so afraid of. Because at first I couldn't really isolate it. I just felt this kind of dreadful, like, fear. And so it was like, I'm afraid of detaching and leaving, and what if I get sad when I get there because I miss people, and all this stuff. And there were a bunch of small things, but when it all added up, it created a pretty big feeling of fear. And so what I did with this is I realized that there's two minds here. And so in one mind, my instinctive mind, which is part of my human nature, which is based in fear, because fear is necessary for survival. It serves a protective function for human beings. If you don't have fear, you wouldn't have any common sense. You wouldn't have good judgment to protect yourself. So that instinctive mind that is based in fear is what was talking. How are you going to protect yourself in New York, and how are you going to protect your emotions and your feelings, and how are you going to eat, and what about a job, and what about this and that, da, 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 and all these things that make me feel good as a human being. But my decision to move is not based on my instinctive mind. It's based on the other mind, which is the intuitive mind. And the intuitive mind is also called your divine higher self, your Christ mind. It's that higher nature, the God in you, that expresses through this human experience. And so being connected to that is so important for me, because I don't make my decisions based on fear. I make them based in love, because that is at the root of the divine higher self, the Christ mind. Love. There's love in this world, and there's fear. Not in this world, but in the universe. There's love and there's fear. There's nothing else. And so either you're making your decisions and you're living your life based on love, or you're living it based on fear. And so it takes a little bit of both. When it comes to making decisions, I choose to stay in a place of love. And that's how I make decisions, based on my divine higher self, on my intuitive mind, using intuition, being able to figure things out, and to follow my gut, my heart. The instinctive mind starts chattering. It's a lot louder than the intuitive mind a lot of the times. It's the loud one that's so worried. When you feel stressed out and anxious about a situation, what should I do? Where's the next meal gonna come from? Do I have enough money to do this? Da-da-da. That is your instinctive mind just chattering away. And so what I've realized is that it's like a little child. You have to say, hey, hush, sit down. Spirit's trying to talk right now. And so the way I do that is write, meditate, pray, go for a walk in nature, and be honest. Be honest with myself about what I feel, instead of running from the fear earlier, saying, oh, I shouldn't feel like that. I should get back to being positive. That's unrealistic. I'm a human being. And fear is normal. When it comes from somewhere. And so it's important to be able to identify the source of your fear, and to understand that the intuitive mind is based in love, the instinctive mind is based in fear. And as human beings, our job is not to reconcile the two, because they can't be reconciled. You cannot reconcile spirit with human nature. It's just, it's like oil and water. However, that's where balance comes in. We have to balance and know that fear is necessary so that you can survive in this flesh. Love is necessary because it's the source of everything. It's what makes you alive. It's the source of creation, and that's the only sure thing there is. The only point of fear is survival. So when fear is creeping into other things, as long as you're alive and breathing, so fear serves its protective function. It can't go beyond that. Once it starts getting into making decisions about where should I go to school, or where should I do this, or how should I do this, how should I choose a relationship, no, that's when like the pot is bubbling over, and you need to take that fear and realize it's not coming from spirit. It's coming from that lower nature, your human nature, and that it has to be kept as far contained to serve its protective function, and that's as far as it goes. And when that instinctive mind starts yapping away about, well, what about this, and how's this gonna work out, and da-da-da, you have to say, you're not talking, spirit's trying to talk right now. And so if you can find a way to quiet that down, flush out, all that stuff, write, paint, sing, draw, go for a run, meditate, whatever it is that you do, get that, quiet it down, get all that stuff out of your head, and that's how you're able to follow your heart and to know that everything's gonna be all right. I don't have any solid shred of physical evidence that I'm going to thrive in New York, but I know inside because spirit tells me that, and so I can't explain it any better than that. And so I just wanted to share that. I'm so inspired by this message that came through today. Didn't even expect to be talking about this. I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? And bam, revelation, lightning just struck my brain. And so today was a classic example of the epic showdown, the big battle between the intuitive mind and the instinctive mind. And so my lesson for today is to learn how to balance those two things and to recognize who is talking. And the biggest red flag is, not red flag, but the biggest indicator of who's talking is, are you afraid of something? If you're feeling this type of feeling and it's not absolute surety, probably an instinctive mind. And so hope this inspires somebody. This is Rain Fairy signing off. Have a blessed day.